Have a good day. The story of the film begins with our hero Salaar, whom all the girls at the university want to see. They love him and everyone envies him for his lavish lifestyle, but Salaar doesn't care about anyone. And at the university, on his birthday, Salaar's father sends him a lot of gifts to the university with his bodyguards, but of course, Salaar doesn't like this, because he feels that his father is always too busy for him and never gives him any priority in his life, and that he cares more about work than about him. And that's why we see Salaar taking the money his father sent him and handing it out to his classmates at the university. We move on to a pretty girl named Zoni, who is getting ready for her first day of studies at the university thanks to a scholarship brought by her father's friend, who is also accompanied by his son, who attends the same university that Zoni will be going to. When she arrives at the university, the son of her father's friend takes her and shows her around inside. But Zoni can't stand him and asks him to leave after completing his mission. Then she continues her tour of the university alone. We return to Salaar, whose mother also visits him at the university to congratulate him on his birthday, since his father and mother are separated. And he lives with his father and doesn't see his mother very often. And when he sees her at the university, he gets very angry, because he doesn't like her at all since she left him when he was little. And he doesn't forget that as a child he kept begging her to stay with him and not leave him, but she pushed him away and left. And so, Salaar spent his entire childhood alone with his father. And that's why he hates his mother and hates all the girls in the world, because he feels that if he loves a girl, she could leave him at any moment. Salaar gets very angry and goes to fight with some classmates at the university, and when he runs to start the fight, he bumps into Zoni. And that was their first meeting, and it seems that he likes her, but the son of his father's friend, and immediately brings him before Salaar because Larry really hates Salaar and they are always challenging each other. And one day, Larry was waiting for Salaar. And when he sees him, he asks him to race together. And of course, Salaar agrees. Then the race begins, but Salaar bumps into Zoni again. But this time, she isn't interested in Salaar and scolds him in front of the whole university because he broke her phone. No one had ever dared to speak to Salaar like that before. And that's why he is very upset by Zoni's words. And he tells himself that he will never forget this day, and he won't let Zoni forget it either. And despite his anger towards her, he really admired her courage, because she is the first girl to treat him this way. She is the complete opposite of the girls who seek his approval. Then Salaar starts gathering information about Zoni, who arrives home and is surprised to find a phone in her bag. And when her father asks her whose phone it is, Zoni doesn't know how to answer him, because she herself doesn't know how the phone ended up in her bag. When Zoni answers the phone, she hears Salaar's voice, but of course she doesn't show that she's talking to him. And she tells her father that it's a friend's phone, which was forgotten in her bag. And the first thing Zoni does when she goes to university the next day is argue with Salaar again and warn him not to cross the line with her like that a second time. And of course, all the students at the university started talking about Zoni and her relationship with Salaar, who had never let a girl speak to him the way Zoni did. The students suspect there is something going on between Zoni and Salaar, so they gather around her and ask about her relationship with Salaar. But Zoni doesn't know what to tell them. At that moment, a girl named Farah steps in and gets her out of trouble. Then they get to know each other and become friends, while Salaar tries to get closer to Zoni because he is attracted to her. And he asks his friend Farah to help him get closer to her, so they put a message for Zoni in her bag. And when Zoni reads it, she thinks it's an apology letter from Salaar for everything he did to her in the past. The next day, Salaar goes to see Zoni, who was at the library, and he talks with her. But when Larry sees them, he gets annoyed and once again brings Zoni in front of Salaar, telling her that he never wants to see her standing with Salaar because Larry is somewhat attracted to Zoni. But of course, Salaar doesn't like what he says. And since he doesn't like anyone getting in his way, he arranges for the university to send Larry on a scholarship abroad for several weeks. And so, he will make himself comfortable with Zoni. And not only that, but he also arranges for the professor to put his name and Zoni's together on a project. Zoni gets upset when she hears this and goes to see the professor to change Salaar's name, but the professor refuses and tells her that if she goes with someone else, she considers herself outside the project, then she agrees with Salaar to do the project together. And Salaar tries as much as possible to get Zoni closer to him. And indeed, Zoni gradually begins to appreciate Salaar's personality and enjoys having him by her side. And they grow even closer when they go down to work on the project in the field and in a hands-on way, since their project is about life in poor neighborhoods. When Salaar sees these places and the people living there, he can't believe that there are people who live in such hardship. He is deeply moved and decides to make them happy, even if it's just with the simplest things. So he calls his friend and asks him to bring a car filled with food and lots of toys for the children. Then his friend arrives and together they start distributing food and toys to the children. Meanwhile, Zoni likes what Salaar has done with the children, because he wants to make them happy. And at that moment, Zoni starts to feel that Salaar, from everything she had heard about him before, about the fact that he is someone arrogant and proud who doesn't care about anyone but himself. After this episode, Zoni begins to believe in Salaar's feelings for her and feels that he isn't just playing with her like he did with all the other girls at the university. And likewise, the closer Salaar gets to Zoni, the more he admires her and enjoys spending more time with her. And after Salaar and Zoni finish the project, they win first place and the university offers them a scholarship for all the years they will spend studying. But Zoni is surprised when she discovers that Salaar arranged for his father's company to fund her scholarship in order to keep Larry away from her. And she is very happy about what Salaar has done and feels that he loves her. One day, Salaar goes to the university, but he is surprised by riots. And when he arrives, he asks about Zoni and runs to save her without caring for his own life. And when Zoni gets home, she tells her sister what Salaar did with her and how he saved her life. And her sister is very impressed by Salaar's personality. Zoni goes to the university and discovers that Salaar has prepared a beautiful surprise for her where he confesses his love and proposes marriage to her. And in shock, Zoni doesn't know how to respond to him, while all the students at the university hear the news and go to celebrate with them. When Zoni returns home, she is overjoyed, as she can't believe that Salaar proposed to her so quickly. And at the same time, Zoni's father's friend comes to ask for Zoni's hand in marriage for his son Larry, and her family is very happy and immediately accepts the marriage proposal. But Zoni didn't know anything about it, and when Zoni returns home, she decides to accept the marriage proposal from Salaar and writes her answer to him in a letter. Then Zoni arrives at the university and meets Salaar. And when she sees him, she gives him the letter. The unexpected surprise is that it turns out Salaar was deceiving us and tricked Zoni. The shock here is that Salaar takes Zoni's letter, tears it up in front of her, and tells her their fairy tale romance is over and he won the bet. And just as Zoni made him a laughingstock in front of all the university students. And now he is turning her into a laughingstock too. Zoni feels completely shocked by what she is hearing, especially after Salaar gathered all the university students to listen to his words. While Zoni is left stunned and does not know how to respond, she tells him he will never find anyone to love him because he is someone who does not deserve love. When Larry learns what happened to Zoni, he returns from his trip and goes to her house to make sure she is okay. But he finds the doctor there because Zoni was very tired and refuses to go to the university after what happened to her. And when Salaar discovers she has been absent from university for a while, he goes to ask Farah about her. But Farah says harsh words and argues with him over his low behavior. Considering Zoni's deep emotions, after Salaar hears her words, he reflects and questions himself, knowing how much she suffered after what occurred. As Zoni regains consciousness, Larry starts an argument, accusing her of using his absence to start a relationship with Salaar. But feeling very awkward, Zoni does not know how to answer him. Then Larry returns to tell her that, despite everything she did, he still wants to marry her. Even though Zoni cannot stand Larry or the way he talks to her, she finds herself forced to agree to marry him. Meanwhile, Salaar realizes Zoni has suffered and is missing university due to what happened, so he also stays home and does not go to class. During this entire period, Salaar cannot stop thinking about what happened and thinks of Zoni daily, beginning to feel that he truly loved her, and that his feelings toward her were genuine love and not just revenge. And Zoni too. Despite what Salaar did, she cannot accept him, and he simply cannot believe that all his feelings for her were not just a game. And after Zoni accepts the marriage to Larry, she decides to return to university once again, and when Salaar's friends see her, they call him immediately. and Salaar is very happy and runs to the university. But when Zoni sees him, she slaps him and tells him that the feeling he is experiencing right now is exactly the same feeling she felt before. And after Salaar leaves, he breaks everything in his path, and Zoni's words, and her image never leave his mind. One day, Larry decides to organize a party to announce his upcoming marriage to Zoni. And when their friends hear about the party, they quickly inform Salaar of what has happened. So, Salaar runs to the party, and the moment he enters, he sees that Larry is trying to force himself upon Zoni. And he goes completely crazy and fights with him and keeps shouting in his face, telling him that Zoni belongs to him alone. And he warns him against trying to touch her. After he leaves, Salaar continues to cry and realizes how deeply he loves Zoni, and that he cannot stand the thought of anyone else being in her life. He regrets everything he did to her, and decides to go to her house to beg for her forgiveness, and to apologize for everything he made her live through and feel during the past period. He says he suffers more than she does. Salaar is shocked when Zoni tells him it is far too late, and informs him that her wedding will take place this week. Salaar goes completely insane upon hearing these words, feeling that she is truly slipping away from him. He begins to drink heavily, and his state worsens day after day. When his friend sees him like this, he goes to his parents and tells them everything Salaar is going through and about his love for Zoni. When he sees their son in such a terrible state, he decides to go to Zoni's family to try and prevent her marriage to Larry. But of course, her family refuses, because the date of the wedding celebration has approached. And on the day of the wedding, Salaar is the victim of a car accident, and when Zoni hears about what has happened to him, she cannot continue the wedding celebration and runs to the hospital to see Salaar. He wakes up, finds her there, is very happy, apologizes for everything, and says he loves her. Then they marry and are happy together.